yeah. Welcome to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, man, a whole lot better. If you had asked me that 48 hours ago, I'd been like, oh, God, I'm in pain. I'm hurt. I was so sick 2 days ago. But, man, I am here. I feel a lot better. Other than, man, earlier this week, I was going out to pick up my nieces from school, and while parked, a truck with a big old trailer came by and totaled my car. So,
Oh,
uh, other,
wow.
other
Well, at
than having,
least you here to talk about it.
other than having to go through that mess, I'm doing all right. I can't complain. You're right. You're right. I do have to look to the sunnier side of things. That hey, at least I'm here, and everybody kept asking, "Are you hurt? Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." But I said, "Why are y'all worried about me? What about the car? She's in pain." but and it was kind of bittersweet when they called me and said, "Yeah, it's a total. You're gonna have to come get your stuff." Like,
Yeah, that's always the aggravating part, man.
so I'm like, "Oh my gosh, do I really got to do this and say goodbye to a very nice vehicle that I cherish?" So anyway, but yeah, one of those things. Other than that, man, I mean, I got to start trying to see if I can auction off autographs of Kendrick Cole and everything. You guys have been out all over the place.
Paying for it too, bro. I am so tired, man.
Oh my gosh, well, you went to Small Bar already, right?
No, that's coming up this
That's
weekend.
that's coming up.
Yeah.
You went to Brickyard and you are going to Bradshaw's, right?
Went to Bradshaw last Friday, Brickyard last Saturday.
Whew,
Two absolutely amazing shows.
I bet it was nuts over
Yeah, got the birthday show coming up this Saturday, and then a small break and be right back at it in September. So
there. Now, is this the Small Bar that's at the Music Factory, or is this the Small Bar actually on South Tryon Street?
no, it's the one on South Tryon. Yeah,
Oh, the real Small Bar.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, at the corner. I got you.
yeah,
Yeah, I was passing the Music Factory not too long ago, and I noticed there's a small bar there too. And
yeah.
I
They
don't
got, they got a few out here, and they got one in Fort Mill. We'll probably find our way to all of them, but this one right now is the one that we started at. They're the one being, the most generous and most hospitality. So we're gonna roll with this for
know. Okay,
time
but
being.
but they're all connected.
All connected, yes, the same
Okay.
owner.
Oh wow. Okay. Very cool. So he just attached the theme of having a very small bar and that being a draw to people.
Yeah, and it's actually like a very little trendy spot. All of them are actually a trendy
Mhm.
spot, but especially the one on Lower South End. A lot of traffic in and out of there.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, all
All
the
the time.
time. Yeah.
Yep. Oh well, that's good. That's good. So yeah, y'all keep up with Kendrick Cole on Facebook. Always look for their movements and everything. They've been pretty active. Great cover band. Check them out, y'all. It's definitely worth the price of admission. Well, it's worth the price of getting a couple beers, and make sure when you go,
Exactly.
you get around for the band too. They will gladly accept. So definitely do that. Jeray Barker says it's so hard to say goodbye. Please don't get me. I didn't pour 40 over the Jeep. I thought about doing it. I was gonna, break open the OE and just go ahead and pour it over. But I said my goodbyes and tried not to look like that I was crying in public. So, um,
At least it
uh,
wasn't a cam.
huh?
At least it wasn't a cam.
Oh my gosh, man! I think I'd be even more destroyed if it was the Can Am.
Hell yeah. I'd be freaking
Everybody,
lost if anything happened to my bike.
man, everybody keeps like, man, do you need a rental car? Do you need a rental car? I'm like, well, I work from home, so I don't really do a whole lot. And I'm hoping that this goes by pretty fast as far as them totaling out the thing and, working out the costs. And I'll go get another car. And I'm thinking, hey, I don't really want to bother with a rental car unless I need one. And if I need to get around in the interim time, I've got my Can-Am. I can always just jump on the bike and go wherever I need to go, and it's got plenty of storage. So if I need to go pick up something or anything like that, it's you know not like I don't have anything. So I'm fortunate enough to be able to have that as well as if I need to borrow my wife's car, I can always do that. But 9 times out of 10, I probably won't need anything. So, but if I do, it's always there. They said so. It'll be what it is. Anyway, we are glad for you guys to join us. We are I don't even know what the word would be, but we are broadcasting on 5 platforms simultaneously, being linked in as they do have a live Facebook as well as YouTube. So on YouTube, you can go to Empower TV. Please sign up there. Click on the bell; it'll let you know every time that we go live or we've added some content. Like, share, and most importantly, please subscribe. I definitely want to try to get our subscribership up on the Empower TV network channel on YouTube. It always uh, helps with the algorithms out there when people are browsing through looking for sports shows. I do tag it down pretty well as far as different topics that we talk about, so that people that do just peruse YouTube TV will come across the show. That has been helping, as I've been seeing ran even after the show runs. More and more views happen after the show, as well as during the show. And then also, the Empower TV Network is part of the uh, Empower. So I'm sorry, Head to Head is part of Empower TV Network, which also streams on Roku TV and Amazon Fire TV. Normally, we would always have the episodes pop up the day after, um, uh, and they still will, but now they are actually live streaming on Roku, Amazon Fire TV as well. So 5 different places to catch the show. We do this every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Up through the preseason, we'll break down 2 conferences every single week and give you our predictions for how those conferences are going to shake out. This is week 2. So last week we took care of the East, the AFC and the NFC, and came up with our predictions there. Next week we'll have 2 more, and then the week after that will be the Wednesday right before that Thursday night game, uh, that Thursday night season opener between the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. So that Wednesday, the 6th, will be the final preseason show leading into that Thursday. And then the full slate of games will be on September the 10th, that Sunday. So that's how it's going to go. So we always ask you guys to give us some feedback, what you're thinking about. How's your favorite team going to do? You like the changes that you've done? You like what you're seeing in preseason? Brand, preseason is so hard for me to figure out because uh, success in the preseason doesn't always translate into success in the off season, and sometimes success in the off season doesn't translate. It's just sometimes you just don't know what you got until the regular season rolls out, and offenses aren't vanilla. Defenses are fully installed. Nobody's really showing their hand in these games. A lot of these games, starters only get a few plays to break a sweat, so you're not really seeing any to be able to get into a real rhythm. This is just a way to weed out some of the guys that were on the fringe of making the team to figure out who's going to make the regular roster, who's going to be on the practice squad, and who's going to end up on waivers.
Yeah, man, it's like really tough to determine. You have to have kind of a football eye to determine if you got to know what to look for. In short, a lot of people think that preseason games are absolutely meaningless. They mean absolutely nothing, and that's just a bunch of bull.
Yep.
The score means nothing.
Right.
Okay, but
Exactly.
you still have people out there trying their hardest. You still have people out there trying to knock the next guy off of a roster position
Mhm.
that they want. So they're
Mhm.
giving full effort. You can still evaluate people because
Mhm.
coaches evaluate and they make cuts off of those evaluations. So you
Exactly
just
right.
got to know what to look for, man.
Yeah.
Now you can't dive all deep into a quarterback that goes 10 for 12 in the first half and think you might have something because of the fact that a lot of defenses don't even. I mean, the DCs don't even. The majority of the DCs anyway, they don't even blitz.
Yeah.
So it all depends on who's out there. Is it the second team defense? You got to look at that.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, it can be evaluated. Uh, it's not a game that means absolutely nothing like a lot of people think. Again, you just got to know what you're looking at and know
I,
what to evaluate.
I agree, and that's why even though fans are there and everything, preseason games to me have never been about the fans, other than the experience they try to create when you actually go to the stadiums. Is I kind of take it the way you said it. For me, preseason games are a way for me to see how certain positions play in situational football. um, Lining up, uh, making sure that how many pre-snap penalties are you getting from a guy and stuff like that. Are people where they're
Exactly.
supposed to be? When I'm telling you this is the play we're going to run, is everybody where they're supposed to be? Win, lose,
Exactly.
or draw, are we executing? Um, how is a guy's aggressiveness, their physicality, especially in the trenches? You really want to know where are we weakest at that line. You know, that's going to help when you're looking at all those different things. When you're looking at your backs and stuff like that, are they seeing the holes? Are they going where the holes are being created? Are how are their cutbacks? You know, those kind of things. Even with the backup quarterbacks, you're talking about, you want to see decision making. You know, zero blitzes aren't necessarily coming for you, but what is your pocket presence like? When is the clock going off in your head? Are you going through your read progression? As far as, are you looking for your hot read? Are you looking for your secondary read? Do you have time to go to your third read? Are you forcing it, or are you making sure that you get the ball out of harm's way, even if it means throwing it at somebody's feet so the ball can be popped up in the air and then returned for a pick six or something like that? A whole lot of nuances. It even gives the coaches opportunities that, hey, if it's fourth and a half a yard, let me really see what my team got. Maybe I'm gonna go for it. Where if it was a game that really meant something, maybe you do it, maybe you don't. But I'm gonna put them in that position because we can practice fourth and ones all day long against each other. And that's why a lot of them now have these joint practices and stuff like that. Because after a while, you get tired of hitting the same guy over and over and over, and having fresh competition on the other side keeps you sharp and keeps you fresh.
Man, I wish I could like had a secretary to type up every single word that you just said, so I could post it in the cooler for all these jabronis talking about preseason games mean absolutely nothing.
Right, right. It's definitely not that. You just have to understand that, because it's more for the evaluators, and for a lot of these guys, it's it's like me being an actor. And the one thing that was very valuable early on when I was acting, Rand, was just being able to be in something so people could film me, so then I could get the footage and add it to my reel. Because then the reel was my way of being able to show a casting director, this is what I've done. These are situations, whether it was a comedy, a drama, or whatever I've been in, so you could see how I may be good in your role. And
This is my tape.
this is my tape. So that's what these players really need, is footage to show, if not this team, another team, this is what I'm capable of. So when you bring me into your building, this is what you're going to get out of me in that position. That is gold to these players. It's an audition.
Absolutely.
It's an audition tape. It's an extended audition where,
Yep.
it's not the combine where I'm running around in shorts and a tank top showing you my broad jump or my 40 or anything like that. This is me strapped up, pads on, helmet on, hands in the dirt, and going head to head full speed, showing you what I can do in a real game situation.
A lot of teams keep 5 wide receivers, some 6 wide receivers, right?
Right. Hmm.
So there's a lot of wide receivers that don't make it, man. And there's a lot of them that are battling to get on position 6 and position 5 for a lot of other teams.
Yes.
So I say that to say, when you are a wide receiver on the field and you're going out for a pass, and that pass gets picked off, and the defensive back is taking it back the other way, you're on tape. Do you stand there and
Uh-huh.
watch him,
or you
or do
become a
you
defensive
chase him
player.
down and be part of the play?
Right.
That's on tape. That's on
Uh-huh.
tape.
Yeah.
That's being evaluated, right? It's being evaluated. And that could cost you, a job somewhere else. Whether you stand there, whether you walk off the field and just let him run by you, or if you go bother chase him down. It
Yeah.
means something.
Hey, Rand, quick trivia question. Steve Smith, what was he known for when he first came to the Carolina Panthers?
Steve Smith was known for just a kick returner, and that was the only thing that he was known for. He
Right.
worked with Musin Muhammad
Uh-huh.
to be a wide receiver, and he made the roster, I believe, is the number 5. Same
Mm-hmm.
thing I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the first time he touched an NFL kickoff, he took it back 100 yards against the Vikings. Yes, I know this because I'm a Panthers fan, almost as big as a Steelers fan. But yeah, man, you get the point.
Yep.
You get the point. They saw that tape. They saw his desire to be a wide receiver. They gave him a shot, and we're going to have a future Hall of Famer because of it.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the whole thing. Finding those diamonds in the rough where you bring them onto your team. They end up on special teams because there's a lot of the 5th and 6th receiver that may not be out there for the first couple of plays. So they put them on special teams. Same thing with running backs. Same things with a lot of the corners. They end up on special teams a lot of times because of speed, coverage, stuff like that, where they can do that kind of thing. And then that also creates a roster spot on offense and defense. So being able to latch on. So they're being evaluated for that. They may, on the depth chart, they may show up as the 4th, 5th, 6th guy, but they'll be used heavily on special teams for kick and punt returns and things of that nature. So that's what the preseason really is for, is rounding out. It's not figuring out really who your starters are. For the most part who your starters are going to be. You've had pre camp, you've had OTAs, you have all the mini camps and everything else. You pretty much figured out. I found it hilarious. They just won't let it go, Rand, that they said that your boy
Yeah.
is starting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, he my boy, all right.
I saw that and cried. I was like, well, they just ain't gonna let it go. For some reason, they think Rand and Baker Mayfield got something going on. And I can tell them honestly, unequivocally, not. Not at all.
Can't stand him.
I know. It's gonna be funny. But I will be salty if he like has the games of his life against the Panthers and then sucks the rest of the time.
Oh my God, man.
He
You
just
won't be the only one.
and yeah, because his bravado and everything, he'll be walking around like he's 6'7" if he ends up somehow beating the Panthers in a game and everything. Like he's Billy Badass or something like that, and I'll just be like, oh God,
And then the very next week he'll throw 4 interceptions for
right,
92
right.
yards.
And everybody will forget about that and be like, see what he could have been if you would have held on to him and you gave up on him too early.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Well, look, we're gonna get cranking with the NFC West. You guys got any comments on that? Definitely put it in the box. I will read them off as quickly as I can. Uh, First up with the AFC West, we have the Denver Broncos, and their depth chart looks like Russell Wilson is returning as the starting quarterback. First, we ought to say new head coach. Uh, Old head coach Sean Payton coming in to take over the reins for the once proud Denver Broncos, headed up by Russell Wilson at quarterback. Jarrett Stidham backs him up as the second QB. And that's what happened to Ben DiNucci from the Cowboys. He's actually the third quarterback. You've got your running back, Javonte Williams, coming back after early season last year once he got hurt. P. Ryan is actually his back at Samaje. And then you've got Jerry Jeudy, ran at one starting receiver, Cortland Sutton at another wide receiver, too. and Adam Troutman as the tight end, and you've got a couple of other guys backing him up, including Chris Manhertz from old Panther days. So that's their key offensive weapons up front on offense. What do you think about these Denver Broncos?
You know, they would have been a whole lot better with that third wide receiver not sustaining the I think he tore his ACL. No, it was an Achilles this time.
Hmm.
Patrick, their wide receiver, very good guy, very physical guy. I like them a lot if they were able to have Sutton, Patton, and Judy out on the field at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, Especially with Sean Payton kind of coming in as our offensive guru to see what he could do with turning Russ's season around with those three weapons. But
Right.
now that he's going to be out, and there's a significant step down in his replacement, Marvin Mims. Um, I just think that really, really hurts them. We'll see, but I'm not too excited about what Denver could do, especially playing in the West, going up against Kansas City two times and the Chargers two times.
Yeah. Yeah. Even when before Peyton got there, even when I looked at the Broncos last year, basically when I looked at them, I said, well, they're really just playing for third place. Fourth is guaranteed to anybody, but they're really playing for third because I didn't see anything above the Chiefs um, and the Chargers that would get them past three.
Yeah, and we were right about that. We
Yeah, we were.
last year we picked them dead last year, and that's where they finished.
Hmm. Because again, we'll keep going back over this script, but the AFC is just a hard conference. You take some of these AFC teams and you put them in the NFC, and it looks totally different on paper. But the fact that they're in the NFC, I mean, in the AFC, and to your point, sometimes it's not just the AFC, it's what division you're in. It's the same issue that I had last week with the AFC East. It's going to be the same issue I'm going to have with the AFC North, where if you take any of those teams outside of Cleveland and you put them in the NFC, I mean, they could and put them in different divisions. I could argue they could win. All of them could win that division that you put them in, depending on
Hmm.
which one it is in the NFC. But it's bad enough they're in the AFC, but then they're all in the same division. And 9 times out of 10, of course, the team that wins the division automatically gets a home playoff game. And then there's only 3 wild card spots. And there are more than 3 AFC teams that I believe that uh, will win more than 11 games. I think there's a AFC team that's going to win 11 games and is not going to be in the playoffs, where there will be an NFC team that will win less than 11 games and will be in the playoffs. You heard it here first. It's going to happen. But that's just the imbalance right now of the two conferences, because the AFC just has more. So even though the Broncos, I think, will be a lot better than they were last year. And a lot of that caveat that I'm putting in is hopefully the line will protect Russ a little bit. Russ never really had good line protection anyway, but early in his career, he was elusive enough to kind of absorb some of the line not being as good as it needed to be. Being
Yeah,
able to extend plays with rollouts and things like that, and then just heave long passes to Tyler Lockett and the like, and that kind of kept the chains moving and things like that. So just when you thought Russ was going to get ready to get knocked to the ground, he unloads a long pass, and then next thing you know, the 12th man is going crazy in Seattle. So that was always the key to success. When you get older now, hopefully somehow they can get Russ to be more of, yes, he needs to be able to use his legs, but use them opportunistically, not as just a way of living and surviving. Running to survive and running as part of a game plan, two totally different things. You put him in the pocket, he moves up in the pocket, and then if he doesn't have anything and you want him to take off, run for 4 or 5 yards and slide, that's fine. But if as soon as the ball comes into his hands, there's like 3 guys coming to take his head off, that's not going to end well. And Jared Stidham may actually find a lot of playing time.
I'm glad
I
you
would,
brought up Jared Stidham too, because as I'm looking through this offense and the depth of the offense, you got to consider that as well.
Mm-hmm.
This offense is not going to be able to sustain an injury, not
No,
another one. They're really not.
they have no depth.
No
Anybody on
depth,
that
man.
line,
No
anybody in these key receiver positions, including tight end, and
tight end, yeah,
this will spiral down very, very quick.
big time. They had a very good tight end in Noah Font last year. He's gone this year. They got Greg Dolch in his place. They got also Chris Manhurst from Carolina
Mm-hmm.
playing behind him. But none of those guys, like I said, spark any interest with me as far as
Either.
being any kind of a threat for a defensive coordinator to worry about. So
Right. So this tells me that they're going to run a lot of base. They're going to run a lot of 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 21, all that stuff. They're not going to be able to run any kind of jumbo package where you've got double tight end sets because you don't have any depth at tight end. So that's good. That's going to be crazy. If you do that, you're going to expose your tight ends to more injury, and then then you don't have any of them, or you only got one, and then you have no depth behind that one.
if they
The
do run double tight end sets, I mean, everybody in the house is going to know it's a run play because can't neither
exactly
one of them tight ends do nothing down the field.
a block, right, right. That's exactly right. So, but at the same time, you got Javonte Williams back there in P Ryan, so you definitely want to try to run first. And we're gonna have to really see how Russ really accepts that, because one of the reasons that he left Seattle was Pete Carroll wasn't coming off of that philosophy of run first. And I think Russ wanted to be more featured as the passer and just did not want to deal with that philosophy anymore. So if he starts hearing Sean Payton look a lot more like Pete Carroll, there may be some problems in paradise. He already
Yeah.
took away his office at the facility. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm not really sure what's going to happen as far as their defense. They are running a 3-4 defense, and we'll see how that goes too. Not really familiar too much with their defensive set, how they're going to run that, other than that fact that it's a 3-4. But I see a lot of names on their defense. Don't recognize many except for Randy Gregory, Zach Allen, DJ Jones, Frank Clark. I see Jonathan Harris in there as a end. Marcus Haynes, I see as a strong linebacker. Pat Surtain, I don't know how I missed him, is also on the team too. So they definitely have a couple of names out there, but how they gel as a unit. And again, the problem they had last year was the offense couldn't sustain drives. The defense always had to come out there and try to get the ball back. And that's
Yep.
just not a good winning recipe to tire out your defense.
Yep. And this year that defense is not as strong. So I don't see. I definitely don't see playoffs for Denver. I can tell you that right now.
No. The only thing they can really hope to do is improve on what they did last year, and go from that way. I don't really see them jockeying for position out of 4 because I don't think that they made enough moves to be able to do that at all. So
Mm-mm.
I don't see that in the cards for them at all with that. So nah, not at all. Anything else on Denver?
Nah, nothing on Denver. I think kind of like you were saying with the Jets last year and the Lions, we said last year that you'll see some slight improvement, though it might not mean like making the playoffs or even having a winning record. I think they will take a slight step forward um, from last year, but it still won't mean like a winning record or playoffs. So,
Well, hopefully they can do better than 5-12.
yeah.
Yeah, that was really bad. Um, Another team that was in the cellar with them at number 3, the 6-11 Las Vegas Raiders.
The Raiders.
The Raiders. And honestly, I mean, what do you say? Lord have mercy, I lost my screen. What do you say about the Raiders? Let me pull up my Raiders again. They went out. They got rid of Derek Carr at the end of last year, who is now in New Orleans. And now they have Jimmy Garoppolo in at starting quarterback, and backing him up is Brian Hoyer. For the time being, you've got Josh Jacobs at the running back, Zamir White and Amir Abdullah backing him up. Of course, we've got the standout wide receiver, Mr. Devontae Adams, at one wide receiver. And on the other side, we've got Jacoby Myers. And we also have Hunter Renfrow at the other third wide receiver. And then you also have Austin Hooper as the starting tight end. Everybody will remember that Darren Waller left. I think he went to the Giants, did he not?
Yeah, he's with the Giants.
Yeah, so now you've got Austin Hooper in at tight end. How in the world do you see this one playing out this year, Rand?
Man, they took a significant step back. And I mean, a step back. I'm just going to say it. I got them coming in last place.
Yeah, I mean, you got Josh Jacobs, and Josh was their bell cow last year. I mean, he tore it up. 1,653 yards rushing last year. Devontae did his part, 1,500 yards receiving.
Yep.
Carr threw for over 3,500 yards. A lot of that thanks to Devontae. But so they were prolific in the fact that their top guys were doing things, but they need a little bit more balanced attack. And I just don't see it. I don't. Jimmy Garoppolo is one of those guys that he has to get that ball out of his hands quickly. The longer Jimmy holds that ball and waits around and tries to figure something out, that's when bad stuff happens. It literally becomes the witching hour. And it's not a good thing. You definitely want him to have decisive things in front of him. People say, all Jimmy does is win. Jimmy wins a lot of times because the offenses around him take the pressure off of Jimmy. Think about San Francisco when you got a Deebo Samuel and you got all these other weapons around you. It takes the pressure off of you.
Especially at an elite defense. Don't forget that part. Elite.
And an elite defense that gives you short fields and just basically beats the other team down. And you're always playing with a lead. That always helps.
Yeah.
Now you're going to, a lot of times, if you're behind in games, well, Josh Jacobs, it gets nullified unless you're going to throw him screen passes. Then it's everybody's going to be looking at Devontae. I don't think Jacoby Myers scares anybody right now. Maybe he's taken a step forward in all these years. We just haven't seen it yet. New England just didn't work out with him at all. And I just really haven't seen any progression with Jacoby. Hopefully he can step up and do some things that we haven't seen him do. But if they're relying on Devontae's going to take on every double team known to man, every coverage is going to be weighed on his side of the field. And they're basically going to dare you to beat them with somebody else.
Yeah, they remind me a lot of the LA Rams last year.
Yep.
They had Kupp and absolutely nobody else to take the pressure off of Kupp.
Yep.
The problem with that is, the Rams quarterback was able to find him downfield, at least before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I do not see Jimmy Garoppolo being a fourth quarter comeback type of quarterback. I don't see him being a quarterback finding receiving targets deep down the field. He's more of a check down ball control guy.
Correct.
And the more and longer that you have the ball in his hands, like you said, bad things are going to happen. Those turnovers are going to come with him. So he does not have that elite defense to lean on this year. It's not even close. They got scrap yard players on the defense for the Raiders. So I do not see good things for them this year at all. I don't.
Yeah, you're right. You've got Max Crosby on one end. You got Chandler Jones on another end.
You can stop right there.
Right.
That is the best they defense got to offer is those
That's
two
it.
guys right there.
And that's just because of all the experience that they have.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, nothing really in the middle to talk about. Your Mike is going to be Robert Spillane. You've got Masterson on one side. You've got Diablo on the other side. Not a whole lot of depth at all. You've got Marcus Epps as a strong safety, and Marcus Peters also back there in the corner. So they're running a lot of base 4-3. I don't even see any a lot of nickel that they'll be able to run or anything like that. It's just going to be a lot of base 4-3 man show coverage, maybe high up top or something like that. But you're not going to really be able to get into a whole lot of exotic defenses and things like that where you're tricking the other team's quarterback into throwing into gaps where you've got somebody kind of lingering back there ready to pick it off. I don't see that with this defense at all.
Nah, I see teams like Kansas City absolutely eating their lunch.
Eating them up, especially
Yes,
in the middle of the field. Absolutely.
exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. This defense is what if you ever wanted to know what a porous defense is, watch the LA Raiders this year. You'll see a porous defense. I don't see it for them at all. Well, now we know about your Raiders and where you got them ranked. We can move up to the team that went 10-7. That would be the Los Angeles Chargers, who has their version of sunshine at quarterback with Justin Herbert. Not quite Trevor Lawrence, but definitely could get some hair commercial advertisements going. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what an Easton stick is, but apparently it's something that they propped up behind Justin Herbert as the second quarterback. His name is Easton Stick.
Easton Stick.
Yes, he is 6'1", 224. He is golly, I'm trying to see if he played last year. Yeah. No, that was this year. I'm sorry. He's out of North Dakota State. I was trying to see any information about this dude. It looks like this might be his first year. I think he's a rook. I'm to be honest with you.
All I can say is the Chargers better have invested
Oh
a hell
my
of a lot of money on
God.
the offensive line.
Yeah, I think he's a Similac baby. I think he ain't played a regular NFL game ever. So God bless. I mean, I'm gonna say this till I'm blue in the face, NFL teams. You gotta value your backup quarterback. You cannot have a rookie as the backup quarterback unless it's a high draft pick that you basically have as a placeholder to eventually sometime during the season become your number one. You're just letting the veteran troll out there the first couple of games and take some of the licks and let them kind of get a little bit more learning going. I don't think Easton Stick is the long-term plan for the Los Angeles Chargers. So I don't know why in the hell he is the backup to your franchise quarterback, Justin Herbert.
As deep as I go with my draft previews, I'm wondering how I missed somebody like Easton Stick. I have never heard of this guy, man.
And I mean, maybe he turns into Brock Purdy, but I don't want to find out because Justin Herbert is sitting there limping around on the sidelines or in the blue tent, even before
No.
plays to find out who Easton Stick is or isn't. I'm a little afraid about that. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's kind of scares the hell out of me. Easton
I'm
Stick.
sure all of Los Angeles is scared of that
Oh,
one.
I bet every time Herbert gets sacked, there's gonna be like silence.
Hell yeah.
Like, please get
Please get
up. It was funny. It was like I heard Mike Greenberg the other day on Get Up talking about if Aaron Rodgers gets hit and everything. They're like, Mike Greenberg's like, I'm just saying right now, instead of y'all hitting Aaron, just take me instead. Just hit me, hit me.
up.
He said, "Don't hit Aaron, hit me. I'll take it." Oh my gosh. But yeah, so you got Justin Herbert, you got Austin Eckler, great running back coming back, Josh Kelly backing him up. You've got Keenan Allen at one wide receiver, Mike Williams at the other, and then Quentin Johnson, third wide receiver, tight end, Gerald Everett. They've got the pieces on offense, just not the depth that I see in a lot of the scoring positions to do a whole lot, and that's what scares me about this team. This team on in any skill position is one injury away from derailing the season. It looks like to me.
Yeah, because of Keenan Allen's injury last year, a lot of these number 3 and number 4 wide receivers got some run with Justin Herbert, so that was a good thing. It's
True.
going to translate over to this year. I like their top 3. They got Mike Williams, Quentin Johnson, and Keenan Allen being healthy.
Yes.
That's very good against a lot of defenses, especially with Gerald Everett being the tight end. So this offense could definitely move the ball just like
Hmm.
last year.
Hmm.
I also like the depth they got at running back. They got Austin Eckler, but they have Isaiah Spiller and Joshua Kelly behind him. Both of
Yeah,
those guys got run
they
because
did.
of Eckler being down last year. So I think this offense is good to go. I like them defensively too. They just never could stay healthy. That's been the Chargers' problem.
All of them on the field at one time when you've got
Yes,
Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, Morgan Fox, Austin Johnson, Kendricks, uh, Derwin James, J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr. Oh, they got a defense for you.
they got a squad, man. If they could just stay healthy.
Yeah, if they can all be on the field together in jail and they're playing a 3-4, that's going to put a lot of pressure on that quarterback.
Absolutely. You got Camille Mack as one of the outside linebackers, and then on the other side, you got Joey Bosa.
God
Whew,
almighty.
yeah.
What
Just got to keep those guys standing, man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's what I mean. If this team can stay healthy, they can keep some pressure. I know I'm gonna sound crazy saying this, but I think they can keep some pressure on Kansas City. I'm not saying Kansas City ain't gonna end up as one, but I don't think it's gonna be like November and they're just crowned number one. I think this can go all the way into December,
I
figuring
agree.
out who's gonna win that division.
I
So
agree with you.
pressure on Kansas City for a very, very long time. Just like you said, if they can keep these guys standing up long enough to be able to do what they do, it's a full 17 game season, 18 weeks. These guys got to be there at the end, not just in August and September, but we need them in December and January more than anything. So that's going to be the real test with them. But I like the team too. I always like them. I'm just afraid of Easton Stick. Um, y'all got to do something about Easton. That does scare me a little bit. Last but not least, in the AFC
I
West,
hope they never call his name.
man, if I hear his name, if I hear and we see Easton Stick warming up on the sideline, I'm like, oh God, he's warming
I
up.
hope it's like a 30-0 blowout.
I put him in to give him some run. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And that would be good for him and for his confidence. Nothing wrong with coming from North Dakota State and things like that. But to go to a franchise like the Chargers, I mean, if you were with the Texans, if you were with the Colts, if you hell, if you were with hell, I don't know, the Falcons, nobody would even blink twice. But it's the Chargers. Yeah,
yeah.
that team's
I think the 49ers have a lot of problems with North Dakota State quarterbacks. We'll get to them in a few minutes. But ooh, they got some issues right now with North Dakota
oh
State
boy, do
quarterbacks.
they ever? Well, some of that is of their
They,
own making. I will argue. They kind
oh, yeah, they gave up a hell of a lot for one.
of see, it's hard to eat humble pie when part of that pie got 3 first-round picks in it. That's gonna be a whole other thing. So anyway, the team that we were saving for the AFC West is none other than the Kansas City Chiefs with first-year head coach. I'm just kidding. With veteran coach Andy Reid, and also one Pat Mahomes at quarterback. Blaine Gabbert is his backup. I'll be honest. I'm a lot more comfortable with Blaine being the backup because Blaine's understanding of the system, even though this is his first year in this system. Um, he definitely has been around for quite some time and is a serviceable backup quarterback. At running
Familiar
back,
with Cam Newton, man. You
yeah,
know, he
yeah,
sure did.
absolutely. And you've got at running back Isaiah Pacheco. Rand, 3 years ago, you gave me a name, and when that name came out, the first couple of games, I was like, "Man, Rand, you hit it," and that was Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Mm-hmm.
And on the depth chart that I'm looking at, he is the third running back behind Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah, he is again one of those smaller type running backs. He's good, but evidently just can't take the pounding of a 16, 17 game season. So they
Mhm.
do it by committee now in Kansas City, and they've done that for several years. And with them doing that, he keeps sliding back and back on the depth chart.
Yeah, I noticed that he was featured more, and then when Pacheco showed up, it was Pacheco, a little splash of Edwards-Helaire in there. So I did start to see that a lot more and more, but it does look like Pacheco does have a little bit of a nod on top of him. You've got
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney at one wide receiver. You've got MVS Marquez Valdez-Scantling at the other receiver, and then Sky Moore at third receiver. And then a couple of guys that back them up in those different wide receiver sets. Of course, the man that needs no introduction at tight end is the one Mr. Travis Kelsey, who is this is I would call a secret weapon, but it ain't really no secret anymore. Who Pat Mahomes likes to throw the ball to. Kelsey has
It's
been
crazy,
Mr.
man. When everybody knows where the ball is going, and he still is able to do what he does.
I know this man is a tight end. Last year caught for 1,338 yards as a tight end.
Everybody knows it's coming. Can't nobody do nothing about it.
Well, and in that same breath, how we talked about earlier, Derek Carr threw for 3,500 yards with the Raiders last year. Pat Mahomes only did a little bit better with 5,250 yards. Jesus Christ. So the kind of offense that you're looking at. And this was in a year where the cheetah, Tyreek Hill, took his talents to South Beach. And this was supposed to be an off season because he didn't have the cheetah. And he still only throws for 5,200 yards. Uh,
Mhm. I
and,
remember
he
that.
threw, and he threw 41 touchdowns and 12 interceptions.
Everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people were saying, "Oh, Mahomes is going to take a step back without the cheetah." Whatever, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, okay, sure. How'd that happen? I mean, if you look at it, I'm gonna just tell you real quick. What did he do in 2021? In 2021, with the cheetah, he threw for 4,800 yards. So 300 more yards without the cheetah. So
Exactly.
or 400 yards more. So figure it out. The man ain't slowing down. Kelsey is doing his thing as well. I think they are just as dangerous as they've ever been on offense. This team, I don't see. They always reminded me of the Duke Blue Devils back in the day, where they didn't rebuild; they just reloaded.
Yep.
They're kind of like that. They don't really just rebuild, and it's the plane that just keeps adding parts while it's in the air. They don't ever just come down to the hangar and take everything down and pull it apart and then just start putting things back together. They just fix it on the way. They add pieces here or there, or they'll make a lot of trading deadline moves for a late playoff push and stuff like that. But they've got their core, they've got their coaches. They did lose their OC to Washington, Eric Bieniemy. So we will have to see what effect that has. Even though I don't think it's going to have any, because the rumor was always that Andy Reid was the de facto OC and Bieniemy was the face of the offense.
Yeah.
So we're going to really see if that was the case or not, or if Bieniemy's presence is maybe not being taken as or regarded as highly. as it may have needed to have been. But I got a feeling that Andy was really pulling a lot of that anyway. And not that Eric didn't learn a lot and won't be valuable to Washington, but I don't think it's going to slow down what they got going on in Kansas City at all.
And I'm agreeing with you, man. I mean, as long as they got the connection of Mahomes to Kelsey, I mean, that's just first downs waiting to happen.
Yep.
They got a very good, reliable center in Creed Humphrey, a center that I wanted in Pittsburgh. That guy's very good. They come back with Sky Moore in his second year at wide receiver. He's going to be their speed receiver,
Yes.
the new cheetah per se.
Right.
So they just retool and keep coming at you. And it's like every year, it seems like they take these wide receivers you never heard of, and all of a sudden you're hearing about them.
Exactly. When I saw Sky Moore last year, I was like, cheetah who? And it's not that, that I'm sitting there shooting out Tyreek Hill. Is Tyreek fast? Yes. Lightning fast. But do you need somebody as fast as Tyreek or somebody fast to stretch the field, keep the defense honest? Sky Moore was able to do that. And he just picked them apart.
Yeah.
He still had his way of picking them apart. And it was funny because as much pocket passing as Patrick Mahomes actually did all season long, the two plays that helped him beat Philadelphia was his legs. On third down plays where he just sat there and took off, as chunky looking as he is when he runs, it looks like he tries to run straight up without bending. It's like a pencil. It's just like, but he's effective with it. And
just one more weapon to beat you, man.
Yeah. And so he reminded us in the Super Bowl, yeah, I can run with that. And that's what I meant about Russell Wilson. Opportunistic running, not running for the sake of running to extend a play, yes, or simply running to pick up those hard first downs a lot of times. What's going on, Mr. Joseph Lowry? He said he had a bad wheel, though, right? He did have a bad wheel, but he always runs like that. But yeah, that didn't help. Well, it was his ankle, I believe, and they kept bringing Chad Henne out every now and then when he was having to have it retaped and stuff like that. I do remember that. So yeah, but even with that bad wheel, and don't get me wrong, I still think by the time the Super Bowl came around, he wasn't 100%, but he wasn't gonna miss the Super Bowl.
No
he would
way.
get the treatments and everything else to kind of mitigate the pain. A lot of times it's not about whether you're in pain; is it manageable pain, and it was obviously manageable enough. And he didn't take a lot of hits, so Philly kind of missed out on that. Probably didn't think that he would run because maybe the scouting report said, hey, his wheel is still bad. And then those 2 third downs were what really broke Philadelphia's back in that game. And that's why they ended up winning it again. Rand, I don't know about you, but I've got Kansas City, Los Angeles, God, I don't know who to go with third. It really depends. Shake them up. Hell, I'll take a risk. I'm gonna give Sean Payton a nod. I'm gonna go Denver and then the Raiders.
That's exactly how I have them lined up as well. Got Kansas City coming in first. Got the Chargers second. Got the Broncos with Sean Payton at the helm, as opposed to the terrible coach that they had last year, improving them. And the Raiders taking a step back would be coming in fourth place.
Absolutely. Joe Lowry said that they gave Mahomes the good stuff. Well, I'm sure they did. What I heard he did, Joe, is that he called Deshaun Watson for a masseuse referral.
Mr. Massaji.
Mr. Massaji knows.
Yeah.
All you need is a good rub, and you can go out there and throw for 200 yards in the season. I'll be honest with you. If it was a masseuse that got him to throw for 5,200 yards, I'm sure every Kansas City fan will fund that GoFundMe account to keep those massages coming. So, oh my gosh. He said, wow. Yeah, we always give him good esthetician advice here on the show and everything. So just reach out to Deshaun Watson. He'll let you know who can rub you the best. He's trying them all, especially on Instagram. But anyway, now let's turn our sights over to the NFC, where we have Rand. I just got to know first. There's a picture that was out a couple of weeks ago that went pretty damn viral for good reason. I want to know if it was authentic or if it was Photoshop, because if it was authentic, this team should be worse than fourth. And it was Kyler Murray.
Already know what I'm going to say.
In a bra, sports bra, and some short booty shorts, looking like he had an arch in his back.
Standing there like he about to clip toenails and wash some prison drawers.
Like a scene from The Longest Yard remake.
Mm-hmm. That was not Photoshop, man. That was not Photoshop. That was an authentic photo.
He showed up to practice like that.
He showed up to practice like that, yes.
I'm sorry.
Joe says,
I can't even say what I want to say. Sure you can. This is totally, hey, Joe, I have this on YouTube. It asks you, is this for kids? I said, no. It is not. But
hey, you remember when Ron Rivera sent Cam home for a tie last year? Or not last year, but a couple of years ago. Yeah. That would have been me sending his ass home.
Yeah, now there's some stuff that I can't say because I don't want to offend nobody, but that's just some of the most sugary stuff I've ever seen in my life. I saw that and I'm like, okay, somebody's just making fun of Kyler like they always do about the oversized helmet on his head and stuff like that. And I'm just going, if that's real, you should be demoted. You shouldn't even be the starting quarterback for a Pee Wee League team. Because if you don't know, you're supposed to be the franchise quarterback. Everybody always gave Cam Newton hell because he come in one time looking like a pimp, looking like a feather man with a hat on, all this kind of crazy stuff. Even my wife be like, the hell he got on. I don't want to hear nothing else about Cam Newton wearing nothing. If your quarterback is walking around with a sports bra, hoochie pants on, and arching his back at practice with 53 grown-ass men. I don't ever want to hear nobody talking about Cam Newton.
Preach.
Ever. Oh God. Joe
said the collection plate.
Joe said from Kyler to Skyler.
From Kyler to Candy.
Right. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. None of that should have anything to do with whether the man can throw a ball or not, but damn it, it does. I can't explain in X's and O's how, but it does.
There's just some things that you look for in leadership.
Right. And that ain't it.
And that ain't it, man.
Back-to-back seasons. Last year it was they say you don't read the playbook. You play video games all day. Now you show up looking like you auditioning for The Longest Yard. I don't know what your game is. I honestly don't. And if it's that, then do you, boo. I mean, that's great.
Boo.
But hey, I'm just saying, bro. Anyway, so yes, we're talking. Let's see what Joe says first. Hey, my quarterback Cam used to come in looking like Doubtfire. Sometimes, but he backed it up. Kyler, though, nah, bro. She ain't it. I mean, he ain't it. Absolutely. Like, bro, that's so many violations. I can't even go on about that one. That's just crazy. So, yes, we are talking about the Yeah, now we're talking about the NFC West. And, of course, we're talking
I would have loved to hear the locker room talk that day.
Bro, do you go back into the locker room, you don't think eyeballs are kind of like cutting to the side looking like, is it bro for real?
Yes.
Like, okay. Like, I mean, you could get hazed for that, man. If you ain't the biggest dude in there, I mean, you can't fight back. You come back the next day and there's stripers and pink all over you. Man, you just open. I just think you're opening yourself up to stuff that shouldn't even be opened up to. That's just craziness. They might already know. Yeah. Hey, y'all better go ahead and take a shower. Kyler coming. Y'all better hurry up. Hurry up. Kyler coming. Oh God. Oh, I could do this all day. Anyway, so Arizona Cardinals, we got Skylar Murray at starting quarterback. And then we've got Colt McCoy still backing him up in the backup position. We've got running back James Conner. We've got Keontae Ingram and Corey Clement backing him up. We've got Marquise Hollywood Brown at wide receiver, Rondell Moore at another receiver, Greg Dortch at third receiver, and a couple guys backing them up. Starting tight end is going to be Zach Ertz. And then Trey McBride as the other tight end. I don't know, Rand. What do you think? I think James Conner has always been a consistent back. I loved him in Pittsburgh. I'm glad he was able to continue some success with Arizona under Cliff Kingsbury, who's no longer there as the coach. The biggest problem that this team had last year was Kyler Murray staying healthy. And this is one of the things that I've always been afraid of with smaller quarterbacks. And trust me, I am mortified about that with Bryce Young, as I always was before they even picked him. I see Kyler Murray in the same build, even though I see Bryce Young as more of a above the shoulders kind of a quarterback, as far as being able to go through his progressions and try to stay out of harm's way. Joe says Connor getting a little long in a 2-4 running back. That's true. And how is he even still in the league, Colt? He's one of those guys. He's like Josh McCown. He's like Chad Henne. He's like what's my man in Buffalo now backing up? Now I can't think of it. Backing up Josh up there. It'll come to me in a second. But a lot of these guys, this is what I'm talking about. They get these backup roles. It's like Blaine Gabbert, still doing backup duty and stuff like that. Colt knows that offense. Well, he knew that offense under Kingsbury. But he's just one of those guys. He goes out, does what you ask. There's a lot of times when Kyler went out, Colt actually did a decent job keeping the offense going as much as he could. So he just holds on. I do agree. Yeah. Connor is starting to get a little long in the 2-4 running back, because these running backs take so many hits. And Connor
is just I don't know what you know about James Conner, but he's just one that has always beat the odds. You talking about a guy that has beat cancer and continued to work out while he was doing chemo.
Right.
That's drive and determination. That guy has had also 2, I believe, knee injuries and just keeps coming back. I love James Conner. I would love for Pittsburgh to rescue that kid out of Arizona and bring him back. I love Conner just for the spirit alone, man.
Well, I was thinking the same thing with Zach Ertz. I think he deserves a lot better than what he's going to end up getting. Just kind of wasting away on a team that's not going to do anything. I was thinking the same thing about Devontae Adams over with the Raiders and everything too. Is players that are on teams that aren't going to do well, their value is going to go down because their production is going to go down. And then when you do need to come up to a trade deadline and try to get draft capital, nobody's going to want to give you anything more than a 4th or 5th round pick as far as capital and compensation. So, letting them just kind of whittle away. Now you're facing either you release them and you have a lot of dead cap money just sitting on your payroll, or you trade them earlier where you can get high enough draft round picks to turn that into something down the road. So I kind of feel that way about Zach Ertz, and I definitely agree about that with James Conner. I just don't see this. I see this team going nowhere fast, to be honest with you.
This is a bad football team. And their best weapon, which is unfortunately Kyler Murray, I don't think he'll be ready to start the season. So you're looking at Colt McCoy starting the season. So
right, Kyler Murray is out. Yeah, he's out, and I don't think he'll be ready. If they force him back too soon, then it's just going to basically put him susceptible to getting injured a lot quicker again. So
Yep.
I think the game plan is definitely Colt McCoy. I don't have a problem with Colt. I think he'll be a decent quarterback for them. I don't think I don't think their demise will be because of him. It'll be just because of just the entire makeup of the team.
Right.
They are running a base 4-3 defense as well. Again, not a whole lot of. I mean, you got Buda Baker all the way in the back, and outside of that, God bless.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you know how deep I go with the draft and all that, man. I'm not recognizing but maybe two names on that defense of guys that can really be playmakers. And I mean, Buda Baker and Isaiah Simmons, I mean, they're not stars either. So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's going to be a long season for Arizona.
I mean, they picked very high in the draft. They had the 6th round pick, and they got Paris Johnson Jr., the offensive tackle out of Ohio State. But he's a rook, you know. He may have some flashes like Iquanu did last year for the Panthers, and looks like he's regressing a little bit this year. We'll see how that goes, and those kind of things. But he's a rook, so he's gonna get tried a lot as a
Going to
rook.
get burnt a lot.
That's what I was trying to say. You're gonna get burnt a whole hell of a lot. So we'll see how that all works itself out too. But I don't expect a whole lot this year from the Arizona Cardinals at all. Moving on up, we have in the NFC West the Los Angeles Rams. Quarterback, of course, is Matthew Stafford, backed up by Brett Ripon and Stetson Bennett. You've got Cam Akers at running back with Kyron Williams behind him. Of course, you have one Cooper Kupp at wide receiver, Van Jefferson, as well as Tutu Atwell at the other receiver, as well as tight end Tyler Higbee. Grant, as much as I like the Rams 2 years ago, I don't really like the Rams anymore.
Yeah, they are a big what if team for me. Well, not a
Yeah.
what if, but a big if team. Because Matthew Stafford is going to have to return to the Matthew Stafford form of the Super Bowl year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he can't be that Matthew Stafford anymore, this team takes a significant step backwards.
Well, not only that, but I think Van Jefferson's got to show you something this year.
Yeah. There are a lot of guys out there that need to step up into big roles.
I think everybody just got too comfortable waiting to see what Cooper Kupp was going to do. And when you got one guy like that where everybody just zeroes, not only is the defense zero in on Cooper, but the whole offense zero ins on him. And this is the issue that the Panthers had a couple years ago with Christian McCaffrey, where everybody knew where the ball was going. All you got to do is find C-Mac, find 22, and that's where the ball is going to be. I mean, hell, even the slowest ass linebacker, all they got to do is look for McCaffrey and just run over to his side. He's going to get the ball. And you'll end up with, 15 tackles in that game. And they know that's where the ball is going to be. And of course, he is your premier wide receiver, but you've got to have complementary players on the other side so that everybody can eat. You don't want to have one receiver that's so dominant that the other ones don't look nearly as good. And then they basically run rain. And if they do run rain, then you expose that team for doing that and you make them pay. But if there's not going to be any penalty to that defense for leaning on Cooper Kupp's side too heavy, then they're going to continue to do that. Cooper's going to get frustrated. Stafford's going to be trying to force a lot of balls into double and triple coverage. And Stafford does have a propensity not only for throwing picks, but pick sixes.
Yeah. It's all about how that elbow comes back. I mean, we'll see if he's a Stafford of old or not, and we'll find out pretty quickly.
And you know
Probably
what?
within the first couple of games.
They really tried to downplay that elbow preseason last year, and I kept going in the shows before the season started. I think that elbow is worse than they're saying that it is, and it ended up being pretty bad. because normal. I mean, it was his throwing one too, so it's not like it's his other elbow. It was his throwing elbow. And
Yeah.
for a quarterback that needs to be able to get the ball out quickly, on time, precision, and things like that, and then for a guy that has spent his whole career throwing deep balls and stuff like that, rocket arm. Um, yeah, if the elbow's not right, then that's his game. He's not going to beat you with his legs ever. So
Nah.
if that arm isn't right, then he's a jag. He's just a guy. So
Dude is getting up there too. What is he, about 37?
yeah, Stafford is 35. Yeah,
Oh, he's
35.
only 35. Okay.
Yeah. If he makes it to the Super Bowl, he'll be 36 because his birthday is February the 7th. So that would be a
Okay.
great birthday present for him. But yeah, he's definitely getting up there. He's definitely taking his share of hits. So I know training camp feels different at 35. Them hits feel different at 35. So that line has got to protect him and give him enough time to be able to get rid of the ball or get it to the right person to make a play. It's going to come down to
Now, I
that.
will say this about the Rams. I think that they have a future in Bennett. Not a lot of people are too high on him, but I like that guy, man. I like that kid. I think he can come behind Stafford and do well
Oh,
if Stafford goes down.
absolutely. Absolutely. And to be honest with you, as you brought up Stafford being 35, it is that time when you got to start looking at that next successor. You got to have a succession plan because Stafford could be one injury away from it being not only a season, but a career. When guys
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to that
definitely.
certain age, certain hits that they take could be the one that does it. So or it'll start to be a reoccurring thing where he'll be back for a little while, but keep your number two on standby. So you got to have a strong number two when you have an aging quarterback. Um,
Yeah, kind of reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger when he had his elbow. He never came back the same, Big Ben.
right. Because after a while, Ben wasn't a threat of running over people anymore. He depended on that arm. He was totally dependent on that arm being able to. Now he could sidestep, step on people, stiff arm them long. And I've seen Ben sit there, have the ball in one hand, stiff arm somebody in the other hand, stepping on them, and still get the ball off. And even though they finally swipe his foot and make him fall, ball's already out of his hand and it's a completion all the way down the field. So I've seen him do that. Um, Stafford isn't really that kind of guy where he's just going to step over you or, you know,
No.
shield you off, make you miss long enough for him to get rid of that ball. If he doesn't have a nice clean pocket, that's going to present some problems. I have seen him step up in the pocket. He does do that pretty well. He does have pretty good pocket presence sometimes, or he'll just take a sack instead of getting rid of the ball. I would rather see him do that a lot more than throwing a lot of those pick sixes he was doing. But I think sometimes he was just trying too hard, trying to play hero ball and stuff like that and put his team in a bad situation.
Yeah, that defense is also taking a big step back. They still got Aaron Donald in the middle, but
But
not too much after that. Um,
they lost Ramsey.
yeah, lost Ramsey. Actually replaced him with our Kello Witherspoon from Pittsburgh, who was
Mhm.
getting roasted last year in Pittsburgh, and I'm glad he's not even on the team anymore. So
They did
good
your
luck, Kello.
right. They did your favor. Oh my gosh, but you're right. They've got Aaron Donald, and when Joe was talking about James Conner getting long in the tooth. Hey, Aaron's been really good for a very long time, but Father Time is undefeated. So we'll see. He is
Yep.
only 32 years old, but it seems like he's been around forever. Um,
Yeah.
and if he can keep up that production, it does help some of those younger guys when you see a guy that much older than you going out and doing the things that he's still capable of doing. So hopefully Aaron Donald can have a really, really good season. This team, to me, it is that what if team. It would take a whole lot of different things to get them to where they need to be if they have any chance in the preseason. But there's two teams in front of them that I believe have a better chance for the postseason. I said preseason, I meant postseason. In the postseason, and one of those teams, surprisingly, is the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
This, of course, has the ageless wonder Pete Carroll at the head coach, Geno freaking Smith as this returning starting quarterback with Drew Lock as his backup. Kenneth Walker II is going to be the running back. DJ Dallas is one of his backups, and Charbonnet is the other backup at running back. You've got DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, the dynamic duo, doing their thing at wide receiver, along with Jackson Smith. I'm gonna murder that name, Jackson Smith.
Nigba.
There we
Nigba.
go. And then they've also added to the mix one Noah Fant from the Raiders. And of course, the always second tight end that's been in that system forever, Mr. Will Disley, as the other tight end as well. I like this team. I really do.
They got some good depth, man. They do.
They got depth at all the positions. I think this team can really, really challenge San Francisco for first in the NFC West.
Yeah, I agree with you. They can.
They're running a base 3-4 defense. They've got Bobby Wagner back, the ageless wonder, at right side linebacker. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting team to watch. Quandre Diggs is in at free safety. Jamal Adams is back there as well. I like that too. They dug up Michael Jackson. He's a cornerback. Yep. Yeah. I mean, how is it to come to your locker every day and there's a damn white glove in front of it? I mean, I don't know. I ain't saying I would do that, but I've watched enough Lethal Weapon to know that you can be Riggs and really get under Murtaugh's skin like that, and just have him go, "Okay, y'all, this ain't funny no more."
Right.
But I would do it all season. I'm just saying. But yeah, I like their defense. I like their depth in offense. Geno has definitely had a renaissance, a resurgent. He's really shown that, hey, Pete Carroll, you were right about Russ. And then he goes and brings in Geno, and Geno tears it up. I mean, that's really a really good thing where, okay, Geno only put up 4,200 yards last year. Not only
crazy.
4,200 freaking yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 picks.
Wow. Just career year, man. But I'll tell you something else about them Seattle Seahawks. I can't wait to see them in them throwback unis, man. With the silver helmets. Those things are so sweet.
Yes. So they're gonna do it. Kenneth Walker, even last year as a running back, 1,050 yards. Of course, Metcalf had 1048. So these guys are looking good. I think they're just getting started. They definitely have a lot of faith in Geno, not just the coaches, but the players are rallying around this guy, and that's what he needs. I'm so happy to see that. I thought a lot of Geno when he was coming out of college, and he just seemed to have a couple of bad breaks here and there and never really caught on. And it's just like the light switch just flipped once he became associated with these Seattle Seahawks.
Kenneth Walker III, fantasy lesson right there for you, freebie. All you guys remember that name.
That's right. Don't always go for the big, hot, sexy players. Find you depth at these skill positions, whether it's tight end or running back. I don't want to say receivers or a dime a dozen, but there'll be a lot of receivers out there, y'all. Go for the running back and the tight ends first. I will.
Break out your Kenneth Walker.
Yes, I agree. Oh, you know it because you've got a coach that is committed to running the football. Pete Carroll will run that football. You do not have to worry about that. He will run. And even knowing that he will run, he will dare you to stop him because you won't.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we do have the San Francisco 49ers with Brock Purdy in at quarterback. Sam Darnold right now is listed as the number 2 with one North Dakota State player, Trey Lance, coming in at number 3. Everybody who doesn't know, Trey Lance was drafted 2 years ago for North Dakota State. The San Francisco 49ers moved up in the draft to get him by giving away 3 first-round picks to get him, and he is not And now let me explain this to you guys too. Brock Purdy had a title that no NFL player really cares to have. It is the last player drafted in the NFL draft, and they are considered what we call Mr. Irrelevant because all of these other picks went before you, and this is just a formality so everybody can get the hell up out of there and cut the lights off and leave. Well, Mr. Irrelevant had a very relevant season last year with the 49ers once Jimmy Garoppolo went down, and Trey Lance had already gotten hurt as well. Brock Purdy, third on the depth chart at that point, came in and kept the 49ers going all season long.
Yep.
Went on a crazy win streak. Played some really good complimentary.
The whole
skill position.
Trey Lance things.
Huh?
I said Trey Lance was a mistake. I said Trey Lance was a mistake at the time.
Me too.
I'm saying Trey Lance is a mistake now. Should have never did that move.
Nope.
I remember when Carolina was looking at him, and I was praying to God they would not draft him. And
but there wasn't enough game tape on him. It was
exactly.
It was
exactly.
He could be, but you're going to
what
throw
he could be.
first round picks on that.
What he could be.
On a could
no
be?
Game tape. Yep, hardly any game tape.
Hardly
like a full
12
year.
Games maybe.
12 to 14 game starts. Yeah, at a small school, North Dakota. So I never understood that move.
I mean, I get sometimes you reach. God knows the New York Giants picked Daniel Jones as the 6th pick in the NFL draft in the first round. If that ain't reaching, I don't know what is. That'll be an ultimate reach. Anybody that got drafted above Michael Jordan now looks like a reach because he wasn't first, second, third, or fourth. But my God, you went and gave up 3 future first-round picks for a guy that can't get out of third place in your daggum depth chart.
They have him on the trading block too.
He's on the trading block, but he's damaged. Who's going to get him? Who's going to take him?
Right. Who wants him? I mean, what are you going to get in return? You're not getting a first rounder. So,
I mean, 4th round. If somebody comes to you and says, "I'll give you a 4th round pick right now," 4th round pick and a pack of cools, you better take it.
Better jump all over it.
Better jump on it because at least you know you're going to get a nice relief from the pack of cools. I don't know about the player, but I know them cigarettes might come in handy. You're gonna need it. But yeah, you got Brock Purdy, you've got C-Mac coming back as a running back, Elijah Mitchell behind him. That is a heck of a 1-2 punch. You got Deebo Samuel with Ray McLeod backing him up. I will say this about Ray. Even when he was with the Panthers, Ray scared me because he fumbled the ball a lot. Then he went to Pittsburgh, and he actually started looking better. And I was like, of course, because he left Carolina. Then he catches on to San Francisco, and I'm like, Ray, who? Man, Ray looks like a stud. So he's stepped up a lot. Brandon Ayuk is another receiver, and then they have Juwan Jennings as the other receiver, and of course at tight end they've got George Kittle. They've got Kyle Juszczyk at fullback. So they got a lot of people on that offense that I really do like and really do see them continuing on what they did last year. Like I said, I do see Seattle pushing them the same way that I see the Chiefs being pushed a little bit more by the Chargers this year. I do see a little bit of heat from that second team. So to be honest with you, the way I've still got it, though, I still got the 49ers edging it out just a little bit, but it could come down to even tiebreakers because these teams play each other twice each year. Could come down to tiebreakers, but the way I see it right now, I'm going to go with Shanahan. I'm giving Shanahan the edge right now. It's going to be Seattle. I'm sorry, I see Freudian slip. It's going to be the 49ers, Seattle. God Almighty, who else did I have? Oh, the Rams and then the Cardinals. Cardinals should be like 12th, but there's only 4 teams. Kyler Murray, you disgraced that whole city.
Go put a shirt on.
I mean, what's going to be next? Nipple pasties? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I got that same order, the exact same order. That San Francisco defense is just too strong. Man.
Yeah, it is. Another Bosa, man. Another freaking Bosa. It's
Yeah.
gonna be nuts. It's gonna. Oh my gosh. And more than just Bosa. I mean, all the way across. That defense is stout. It's
Yep.
gonna be very hard to keep up with that. And man, yeah, we hit them all right at the right time. So that is our predictions for the NFC West, the AFC West. Y'all tune in next week where we will cover the North, the AFC North and the NFC North. I'm sure Rand's going to be kind of heartbroken with that one a little bit. But it's good. We'll see. We'll see. It's
Hey,
going
you
to
know
be.
I keep it real.
You do keep it real, and that's why we love it. We have our favorite teams and everything, but we always have to look at the truth of it and be able to analyze it and go from there. But still, hope things shake up a little bit better than we think. Anyway, thanks y'all for tuning in for another week of Head to Head Sports. I am your host Brian Parker, along with my co-host Mr. Randall Hargrove. We do this every single Wednesday for the next 24 weeks, I guess. So we'll be doing it for quite some time. Y'all come back and see us. Always go to our social handles, like us and everything else, and we will definitely see y'all again next week. See y'all soon.